The UN must act now. The EU must act now. The UK government must act. The evidence shows that the actions of the Israeli Defence Force are illegal in international law. So why is the international community dragging its feet? The rise and death toll of innocent citizens cannot be justified. Israel has a responsibility to respond to the rocket attacks judiciously. It has not done so. The latest bombing of a UN school is disgraceful and beyond comprehension. UNISON has always supported the policy of a two-state solution. We recognise the right of Palestinians to establish a state in the West Bank and Gaza Strip with its capital in Jerusalem. To have a viable Palestinian state, Israel must comply with international law and withdraw to its 1967 borders. The illegal settlements continue to dispossess, humiliate and terrorise the people who are the rightful owners of the land that has been occupied. We will continue to campaign against the illegal settlements. Our links with Palestine have been established over many years. As a trade union, UNISON have supported workers in Palestine, in Israel and the occupied territories to achieve their rights. We do this through delegations, projects and campaigns in support of Palestinians and Arabs within Israel who are often treated as second-class citizens. We must support the Workers' Advice Centre, the WAC-MAAN, who organise workers inside Israel. Their director, Asabadi, and another WAC activist, Yoga Tamir, were arrested this week on the picket line outside a garage that was refusing to enter into negotiations with their workers. The fact is the garage called the police because of thugs who were trying to break up the strike gives an indication how victims are often portrayed as aggressors and how basic rights are being violated. We call on both sides to reach a ceasefire. The only viable alternative to the current conflict in the region is a political arrangement, the principles of which are embedded in long-existing UN resolutions. No more lives must be lost. It's time to call for a ceasefire. It is time for international law to be upheld. It is time for the safety, dignity and rights of the people of Gaza to be restored. The horror must end. Thank you.
It's important and fantastic to have the trade unions on board with this campaign. We talked about it being a national day of action today around the country. It's also a global movement. And I once again just want to mention one article that ran in an Israeli paper 10 days ago, which outlined the importance of what we're doing here in Britain. This was an article in Haaretz, and it's something we should be proud of because the article said that Britain is the epicenter of the global pro-Palestine. So well done everyone, let's keep up the campaign. And next I want to introduce someone who's a fantastic spokesperson against the wars that our government is involved in, a fantastic defender of the Palestinian people, a spokesperson for the anti-austerity movement, a writer, a campaigner, a Guardian columnist, and he's in a very, very smart suit today. Give it up for Owen Jones!
Apologies for looking like a New Labour apparatchik. I'm actually going to a wedding. However, I could not come here today along with all of you as we express our unwavering solidarity with the people of Palestine. That's why we're here today. Friends, this is not a conflict. This is not a war. This is a massacre. A massacre perpetrated against the people of Palestine. And it is not enough to say that these people have been stripped of their humanity. Their occupiers, their oppressors would not treat their dogs like this, let alone their own children. And that is what we're seeing. People stripped of their basic humanity. Now friends, when we look at the origins of what's just happened, We know, of course, about the horrible, savage murder of those 3 Israeli teenagers, which we all, of course, condemn. But we must also condemn this. The 5 Palestinians in the West Bank who were killed by Israeli forces after the abduction of those teenagers. That was in an operation which Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch said was collective punishment and a crime against humanity. Did those 5 lives not matter as much as the lives of those Israeli teenagers? Is a Palestinian life not equal to a life of an Israeli? This is the hierarchy of death, where some lives matter more than most. And the reason it matters is this: because it allows the media to relentlessly portray Israel as responding to attacks, as being defensive, when they themselves initiated this round. Let us say this loud and clear. The Israeli government started this, not Gaza. That is the truth. We make that clear. Now friends, for those defending an operation which is slaughtering children, which is bombing schools, those people have been stripped of any moral decency. And look at what they're doing. Shelling schools, slaughtering children playing football. This is an army, not just a normal army, a military superpower, one of the great armies on the face of the earth, with state-of-the-art equipment, armed with everything up to and including nuclear weapons. And what are they up against? They're up against what David Cameron himself once described as an open-air prison. This is not a conflict, it's not a war, it is a massacre. There is no parity. Sometimes they attack us in the anti-war movement. They say, hang on a minute, what about the injustices going elsewhere? What about the slaughter in Syria? Now all of us of course must stand in solidarity with those slaughtered and murdered and killed by all sides in Syria. But this is the point. The difference is, whilst Assad is an official enemy, Israel is armed to the teeth and backed by our Western governments. They are complicit with every death, with every maiming, with every single attack. And that is why we're out with such numbers, not just against the Israeli government, but against our own governments for their role in this massacre. Just to end, these should be our demands. The end with no conditions of this massacre. The withdrawal of every single soldier from Gaza. The end of a siege, a brutal siege of Gaza. But not just that, the dismantling of every single illegal settlement in the West. Every single one. An end to Israel's violation of international law. Violations which, if it was another government, they'd be a rogue state, a pariah. Well, that is what these people are. And only that will give justice and security for Arabs and Jews alike. So to wrap up, this is our message to the Palestinian people. However lonely it may feel, however overwhelming the odds, you have the hearts of billions of people across the world. And we will never, ever, ever give up on you.
Palestine! Free Palestine!
Solidarity!
Before I introduce the next speaker, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. Okay, the first thing is, we know how we're getting the message out. We know that using Twitter